Now, don't get it twisted. There are way too many camera accessories that have come out nowadays, between camera bodies and lenses and gimbals and a whole bunch of different accessories that you think that you might need. There's a couple things that might go forgotten. Now, today's video, I'm not gonna be talking about a tripod, I'm not talking about a gimbal or the latest camera that's come out. I'm actually gonna be talking about a monopod. Now, a monopod is just like a tripod with less steps, but iFootage did sponsor this video, and we're gonna be reviewing the Cobra and the Komodo head to go with this guy, making it one of the most versatile and forgotten filmmaking tools that you might wanna add to your kit. But we'll talk about it. Now let's talk about some of the tech stuff before we get back into the video. Now we're gonna go top down with this monopod. Now first thing, you're actually going to get a quick release plate that you can attach to the bottom of your camera. I find I can fit this on most mirrorless or even DSLR cameras if you still use them, and on some pretty big lenses as well. Now, the fact that it is a quick release and a manned photo plate is I can actually fit it onto other accessories that use the same system or anything else that's going to use that quick release plate. You're going to get your pan and your tilt out of this guy, exactly what you would expect out of a tripod mount. But what's really cool is how this fits into the mono part of the monopod. Now, when iFootage did send me those, I thought I got a little bit more than what I bargained for, and I got two of the same items. But it turns out that these guys are a little bit different from each other. Now, these monopods are going to be made out of carbon fiber, so they're sturdy and they're incredibly lightweight as well. What's also cool is you could actually take that K5S fluid head and you can attach it right onto the monopod without a lot of effort. There we go. Now this is all attached. I'm ready for the base part of it, but I also want to talk about the fact that you can use any of these clip-ons to extend or compress the monopod depending on how tall you actually need it to be. Now this is where I'm gonna come to a part called the chicken feet, and honestly I just called it chicken feet because when you spread these guys out, that's kind of what they look like. Now these do look pretty similar to each other, and for a lot of things they actually are, but these actually lock into the bottom of your monopod the same way that you would on the fluid head. There we go. Now once these guys are at the bottom of your monopod, you're actually able to stand this guy up while your camera's onto it. Although depending on the chicken feet that you're going to use for the bottom of your monopod might dictate which ones you're going to use. Now the difference between the chicken feet is a little bit subtle. Now there is going to be a twist lock and a step lock option. So if I'm going to leave the camera like this, or I want to get a clip shooting by myself without using a tripod, you could use one of these two options. However, I kind of actually prefer the step one. Now you are going to have a different base depending on which monopod you're going to end up picking. Now the one that's going to be right over here is going to be the twist locking system, which is going to act a lot like how your entry level tripods work. You're going to have a knob on the side that you can tighten things and you can loosen it. And once you've loosened it using the base at the bottom, you can move the monopod around in place for any different type of shot that you want to get. Now, something with twist lock is that over time it might come a little bit loose, and if I'm shooting a clip where I'm not exactly close to my camera, you might run the risk of things leaning over and falling over. However, it has been pretty sturdy the time that I've used it. Now, something I find that's a little more secure is using the step lock system as well. Not only are you going to be able to use a step lock system to lock your monopod in place, but you're also going to have this tension ring at the bottom, so you can choose how much resistance that you have while moving the monopod around in place. Now, depending on your use case, you might get one or the other. If you're someone that's not going to leave your camera on its own, but you are going to move it back and forth while it's using the base in place, you might want to actually use a chicken foot with a twist lock. And if you are somebody that might be taking a lot of self clips or you're doing a lot of vlogging and you need a small footprint, using the step lock is a little bit better because I can turn that tension to make sure that things don't fall over. Now, another fun fact here is that say you don't really like the whole monopod thing, it's a little bit weird and it's just something that isn't necessarily your workflow, at least all the time. You can actually take off that little base chicken foot thing, you can attach it onto your camera in order to make a tabletop tripod. It's actually pretty easy because the attachment on the bottom of the fluid head is the same that actually goes on the monopod. And I keep missing. Now we're ready to go, and I could set this up and I could start doing takes on my desk without having a giant tripod setup. Now, I did get a chance to actually bring this to Utah for the Sony condo trip. We actually got to test out the brand new A7C Mark II and the brand new A7C-R. Now, one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to dedicate myself to actually making vertical content for this entire trip, and also get some stuff for this video as well. And I took this setup and it worked pretty well in terms of getting YouTube content and also getting vertical content as well. Now, if you're somebody that likes to make a lot of TikTok, Instagram Reels, or YouTube Shorts, you might want to know that this actually can configure itself for a vertical setup. Honestly, all you have to do is put the tripod plate horizontally at the bottom of your camera, and you could use the tilt axis on the monopod fluid head in order to set up for vertical content. Now there is one more thing that I really do like about this monopod setup as well, and it's the fact that I can detach it and I can use it as a simple YouTube setup or to actually create some content. I did mention this before in some of the technical side of things where the monopod, the actual pole part, can detach, and I could use the fluid head on the bottom of the base, and that could form as a desktop tripod to make it an easy setup to create content. And I've been actually doing that for my live streams, my YouTube content, or anything else that's come my DIY way where I didn't need to have a huge big setup, but I also want to get a lot of content quickly, and then when I'm done, I can just fold it up and go about my business. I don't have to worry about having an extra tripod or setting up a desk setup. I can honestly just put this on the top of the desk like I have right now, and it works perfectly fine. Now, I get it. There are different things that you can use to accessorize your camera or to make your life easier, but the monopod actually was a little bit surprising to me. When I was using the Cobra 3 through my trip, and I've been using it for the last couple of weeks, I found it's one of the things that I almost never go without because it's easy to set up, it's easy to get content, and once I'm done, I can just stuff it in my bag and I don't have to worry about it. Now, that is going to come to a price, and you're gonna have two different options. Now, if you wanna pick up the carbon fibered version, the one that I actually brought on the Utah trip with me, that's gonna be a little bit sturdier. The chicken feet or the base is actually going to be a little bit better. It's gonna end up being a total of $340 USD. Now, on the flip side, if you're balling on a budget and you don't really care about things made out of carbon fiber, you can get the aluminum version, which is only gonna be about $259 US, so it's gonna cost a little bit cheaper, but you're gonna get similar functionality. Now, for me personally, if I had to pick between the two, I'm probably gonna go with the carbon fiber. It's a little bit more, but you're gonna get something that's a little bit higher quality, it's a little bit lighter, and also the base of it is a little bit more comprehensive as well. You get that step down in order to lock the mechanism, and you have a tension rod at the side, so if you do move it around, you can control how much tension it is, you can control how much tension you actually give while using the monopod in place if you are trying to get an interesting shot. That being said, a special shout out to iFootage for actually sponsoring this video, and if you guys want to check out more about these monopods, I'll leave a link in the description down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.